Hey everybody, Tom Barnes Stories from the 78 here in the old burlesque district of Chicago. You're looking at the Fisher Building, and that is home to an institution here in Chicago, Brando's. And yes, I know it's the financial district, but that's not as much fun to say as the old burlesque district. You know what I'm saying? Down that way, the Harold Washington Library is back that way, and all the old theaters like the Majestic used to be in this area. Hence why this used to be the old burlesque district. So I'm going to talk to Dino. He owns Brando's, and inside this beautiful old Fisher Building, it's on the bottom floor, but I thought I'd take a look at this just because this building itself is an old Burnham building, and it is absolutely stunning. He'll talk about the work that needed to be done to turn that space into Brando's, a cocktail staple here in the old burlesque financial district since 2007. So let's go inside and say hi to Dino. Take a look at this bar and look at the metal on there. There's a significant story about the metal in this historic bar, in this historic building. I'm here with Dino, owner of Brando's. How you doing,
Welcome
man?
to Brando's. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm wonderful. You guys are closed right now. I want to make that clear that
Yes.
You guys are closed. That's why I can hear you right
Absolutely.
now. It's not bumping. There's no karaoke happening.
We wouldn't be here if it was open. It's too
Right.
packed.
And you got deliveries happening here, so, but we're gonna wing it as we go here.
Absolutely.
But tell me how you found that metal in this in the building here.
In the I guess late winter of 2007 is when I found Brando's and started getting ideas on the design, and I wanted to pay tribute to this great building. It's a Burnham building. So I started searching around the basement and found some metal pieces because I knew the architecture had a lot of ornate metal. I'm a big fan of that. I had the building engineer work with me on finding this room that had a bunch of this metal. So I took it, I used some welders, artisan welders, and we put together a lot of things like the bar grill in our main room, this back bar here. It's the old elevator shaft from the original elevators, and they tore those out. So you'll see a lot of pieces throughout the bar. That sign I found in the basement of the Fisher Building sign.
Oh,
that weighs
wow.
about 400 pounds.
That thing right there weighs 400
Yeah,
pounds.
it's all brass, yeah. They were going to actually scrap it. I caught them
Isn't
going
that
to
crazy?
the scrapyard. Yeah.
Chicago, man, we didn't do a good job of
No.
saving things we should have, but
No.
thank God we have what we have, right?
Yeah, it's gold to me.
What about the pictures on the wall there?
Pictures on the wall, this is this was the old burlesque district. So our back door on State Street were all the burlesque theaters. So we had theaters
Really?
like the Rialto, Trocadero, Gemini, a bunch of theaters down here, especially during Prohibition. They would do the live entertainment, and this actual site of the building had a place called Hannah's Hogger, and they closed down during Prohibition. And there's an old, what do they call that? The old wives' tales,
Sure.
yeah. So they said that they used to come in here, and it was actually a speakeasy for a while. Because
Really?
after the theaters would close, right out our back door was the Gemini's back door, their entrance, and for the employees and staff.
Was that the Gemini right there, or is that long gone?
No, not right where 331 South Plymouth, where that city parking lot is.
Yeah.
That was the old Gemini theater, the
I'm
back
gonna just
door.
pop out and show
Yeah,
it
for
real
sure.
quick. The old Gemini there.
And you'll see the Harold Washington Library to the south right there.
So this used to be the old burlesque district down there.
Yeah.
Huh? Look at that.
Yeah. So another little anecdote to that story is my grandfather on my mom's side, he was a jazz musician. He played the vibes and the drums, and my grandmother was a performer. She was a singer and a burlesque dancer. So my uncle told me when he was down here to visit me, like the second year of opening, that my grandmother actually worked at the Gemini. So,
Really?
yeah, pretty ironic. It's like something brought me to this.
What are the odds?
Yeah. Now, if you would have seen the way this place looked, you wouldn't have believed how anyone would want to even take a chance on it. But I just looked at how beautiful the building was, and I looked at the guts of it, and I'm like, I really want this. I mean, this is a historic building. I had a little bit of I had a big connection to the past, and I love, old Chicago history, and I think there's a lot of stories still untold about that.
And so what space are we in now for folks who have never been in here?
We are in the back room of Brando's. We're in the B room, we call it. It's on our back side. We're on Plymouth, is out our back door, and the front room is on Dearborn. We started out in the other side. One of my goals was to take this room out. It's not a huge space, but this real estate is really primed to get a spot down in the loop like this. So I wanted to get as much space as I could, and I loved the floors and everything about it. It was a dry cleaners.
Oh,
so
really?
About 4 years into being open next door, we were just too big for the space, and the dry cleaners moved out, and the owners of the building, gave us the spot, and we developed it. And like I said, we used the old metal from the buildings, the old logos the Fisher had, and we put our B on there, and
Absolutely.
Used everything we could to preserve anything that was in here. This floor was all destroyed, but we kept the old floor. And if you look at old pictures of Hannah's Hog Bar, you'll see these floors.
That's really cool.
Pictures,
It's the connection to your grandmother, and that's incredible.
In the past.
And the building itself, one of the taller buildings, is it?
Well,
the tallest,
actually,
or is
the
it right
Fisher
by
building
one?
is a Burnham building, so it's a terracotta building. It's got a lot of history. But across the street is Monadnock, and that's one of the tallest freestanding all brick structures. And the whole area is, I think, as I said before, I think this is one of the coolest areas in Chicago. People look at it as the financial district, the federal buildings are here.
Yeah.
But the history has never been really told here.
No, it hasn't.
The area.
And this was an old burlesque district.
Yeah, it was burlesque and theaters, and then it got real crazy for a while. I mean, it was like the
60s?
kind of like a red light district. I think 50s, 60s.
Yeah. After World War II.
It was, even when we got here, it was still kind of the remnants of all that.
Yeah. Why don't we take a little walk, if you wouldn't mind, to the back? And that's kind of
so this was there was a wall in between the spaces. And the plumbing's above the ground because they couldn't do a lot of work here because it is an architecturally protected building. But we just broke right through the wall and opened up the other space. As I said before, this is the Brando's room. There's my son and my grandson right there. Hi, Nolan.
And this is where people can...
This is where the karaoke room is. This was the
happens.
original space, actually. So we used, as you see, some of the old iron from the building for the bar. And
it's a lot quieter during non-business hours. But this is where, you've had a lot of people come through, not just the regular Chicagoans, but people who once called Chicago home, who are athletes, who are singers,
celebrities,
everybody.
Correct.
I think Eddie Vedder.
Eddie Vedder, Lady Gaga. Patrick Swayze was one of his last things he ever shot in Chicago. He was actually here. It was like a warming room in January, and one night he was sitting here, and the crew asked if they were having coffee in that area. There used to be a booth back there. And there was like 5 people in the room, and 3 were like these housewives from Wisconsin. And they met Patrick Swayze, and he went up and sang "She's Like the Wind" with them. It was actually
Come
great.
on.
Yeah,
He sang his own song.
Yeah, he sang with them.
So it wasn't even karaoke, it was his own song.
Yeah, it was, from Dirty Dancing.
Oh, and that happened right over there.
Yeah, absolutely. That stage hasn't changed. We've done little modifications, but that's where the stage has been. It's an odd space, but I mean it works for us, and the place is iconic on its own. I'm not patting ourselves on the back, but it's people really made this place. Our customers, the people that came here, the neighborhood, the history. Yeah,
there's a lot. It's a quieter, like if you're from around this area, you've worked in this area, this spot. But from some kid from the northwest suburbs coming in, all they hear is other neighborhoods. That's why we're coming here to do this one, just because of the old building, the history. And you've been here for a while. It's not like you guys just opened last week.
2007.
That's a long
They always
run.
say we're the hidden gem still, but it's became kind of an institution here now. We get a lot of trade show business, a lot of tourism. Local tourism, people from like Indiana and Iowa, Michigan, Wisconsin. It's kind of like on the bucket list for a lot of people to come here.
Because of the karaoke?
The karaoke, we call it like classic karaoke. Like one of the reasons we called it Brando Speakeasy, everybody puts a fancy drink and some old school furniture in their bar, and they call it a speakeasy now. That's like the thing. But when I called this Brando Speakeasy, it wasn't like a phenomenon like everyone was opening up speakeasies. And the reason I called it Brando Speakeasy is because of the ties to the past in the area. Also, it's always difficult to find and get in. We didn't do the whole password thing, but everyone's like, well, why do you have karaoke? I said, well, that kind of developed, kind of like the old speakeasies. People would come from like the theaters, like the Rialto or the Gemini, and they'd impromptu jam session would break out, and people would sing, a piano player, guitar player, the entertainers would do it. So I wanted to give that element. And that's one of the reasons we started doing karaoke on demand, because a funny thing happened. We were doing Wednesday karaoke, and then sometimes on the weekend, and most nights we were just a cocktail bar. And the Jersey Boys were in town.
Oh, yeah.
And this is like in the early days when they were like, it was like a super popular thing.
Sure.
And they came in here one night, and then Flashdance was in town, and there was like 2 other plays in town, and the building used to house some of the Broadway and Chicago actors.
Oh,
so
I
they were
know
always
that.
down here singing off the computer on the bar. So one night, I think it was a thing called Metro Mix. Is one of the old
old
marketing
entertainment show.
Entertainment, yeah. It was on I think the Tribune or sometime. And they wrote an article about us. We didn't even know, and they said like we were the greatest karaoke bar they've ever been with. But meanwhile, we've got all these Broadway singers singing karaoke. You know,
Hey, timing is everything, my friend.
Yeah, and then they gave me a little interview. They go, well, how often you do it? And I just said, well, we do it on demand because when these guys come down, you know, they can sing. So that's where we got the moniker Karaoke on Demand.
Yeah.
And we couldn't stop it after that. It really got popular.
The vibe in here very much feels like the bridging of Chicago's past to the present, but also to our future. Because there are bars in the city, you know, there's lots of bars and there's lots of karaoke.
Yeah.
But this has all of the roots of why Chicago is Chicago, as far as the burlesque, the entertainment, the Broadway in Chicago.
We've done it all here too.
Yeah, and this has all of that, and it shows all, let's say, I'm going to sound like an old man, but it shows all the new folks in town.
Definitely.
And also people who open businesses, like this is true Chicago right here.
Yeah. Well, the name of my company is Vintage Nightlife. It's my son and I, and all of our places got like a vintage vibe to them, and it's like people have lost in a lot of ways, they've lost the ability to go out and actually have fun. Everything's just so, you know, everyone's on their phones and everybody's, so it's kind of when people come in here, we got people from all walks of life, all racial and social backgrounds, they get together and they party together. I think that's what Chicago is, and that's what Chicago needs. I think the world needs it, but that's what happened here from day one. You know, we never had to, you know, say, hey, it's this type of night or that. Everybody got together and became friends, and that's what we do. We bring people together, and that's what Vintage Nightlife actually does. So that happened here on its own. Actually, that's my philosophy in life. That's my family, how we all are, and how my background is with my family. People from everywhere, Puerto Rican, African American, Italian. That's my family background. So that kind of happened here on its own, you know.
Well, and that's why it is successful. I mean, you don't do anything since 2007 without being really good at it, especially in this part of the city and in the city in general. So congratulations to you. And I'm just looking at this space with the ironwork. I mean, it is so unique and so beautiful. I love that you pay homage to Chicago's past and our theatrical background, be it burlesque or Broadway or what have you, or just singing some karaoke with Patrick Swayze and
Absolutely.
She's Like the Wind.
Yeah, it's been pretty unique here. As I said, we've had so many people come through here and they just find the place on their own. There's nothing forced, you know.
Yeah.
So it's been great. But yes, you know, when you get up here, it's not like I love karaoke dive bars. I'm not cutting them down. That's like some of my favorite things to do on my off nights. I like to go to, you know, places and neighborhood taps and sing. You know, I've got a little bit of a singing background myself, but it's when we come here, you got the little stage, and it's almost like a production. People are announced. You know, it's not a dive bar atmosphere,
Not
even
at
though,
all.
you know. So that's why we try to give people a little bit of a showbiz. They're the star that night. You know, everyone's like, oh, you're a legendary place. Brando's is so legendary. I'm like, well, the people are what make us that, you know. And I was like, oh, we have great singers. We have great singers, but some of the worst singers are the most popular. Our regulars are the most popular people. We've got this guy Charles, who's hilarious, and people actually come here to see him sometimes. It's really funny.
I love it.
It's real ironic and fun.
For folks that want to learn a little bit more or just find some stuff on the web, you got a spot where you want people to go to?
Yeah, it's easy, brandochicago.com, you know. You Google Brando Speakeasy, and we've been around for so long, we pop up everywhere. So.
And you guys do open at 5, is that right?
We open at 5 every day. We have karaoke on demand 7 days a week, and you know, we'll do early parties. We'll open for the morning for private events and all that type of stuff. So.
Well, thank you for opening early for me today.
Thank you.
I know that you guys are just getting set up for the day here, but I appreciate it very much.
Great.
And look forward to coming back and enjoying some karaoke.
Great. Excellent. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, that's Dino. This is Brando's townbarterchicago@gmail.com, or hit me up at the website storiesfromthe78.com. Come and check out and say hi to Dino. What's your song of choice?
I would do Sway by Dean Martin, maybe.
Oh, old school. All right.
Yeah,
I
in
like
the style of Stevie Wonder, though. So, yeah.
fantastic. That's on demand. I'll see that.
All right.
Thanks.
Take care. Bye-bye.